For joining us here today on NewsX World. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has urged that European Union to stop sending financial support to Ukraine if it wants to boost its own economy. Speaking ahead of talks with EU leaders, Orban emphasised that EU funds should be directed towards strengthening its own competitiveness rather than aiding Ukraine. The EU has contributed nearly $187.62 billion in assistance to Ukraine and approved a $95.4 billion loan for the next 2 years. Let's listen in to the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban.
If we would like to have a better performing economy, we have to stop the war in Ukraine and to generate peace. Second, if you need your money for your competitiveness, don't give it to somebody else. So don't send your money to Ukraine. Instead of, we should spend on our own economy to improve competitiveness.
We are now being joined by Dr. Satoru Nagao, who's a fellow Hudson Institute, joining us from Tokyo. Thank you so much for joining us here today on NewsX World. What are the main economic arguments Orban is making for redirecting EU funds away from Ukraine and towards domestic priorities?
In this case, recently, Europe faced something financial shortages because of they need to increase their own defense budget. But at the same time, Prime Minister Orban's Hungary is quite anti-Ukraine, even if they are in EU. Because of the four reasons. Firstly, Hungary rely on the energy resources from Russia. So that's why the deteriorated situation between the Russia and Ukraine and cut energy supply from Russia to Hungary is one of the serious issues. But anyway, Hungary need to adjust because this is the fourth year, so that's why day by day they need to reduce reliance on these energy sources. So another one is Hungarian people in Ukraine face some difficulty. That is the reason the Ukraine and Hungary face a problem. But this is not only the two reasons. Indeed, another reason is EU-Hungary relation is also a reason. The EU dislikes Prime Minister Orban's strong measures in the domestic society, so that's why this is not EU's definition of the ideal country. So that's why the value-related problem has happened between EU and Hungary. So from these are the reasons there are some problem between Hungary and Ukraine, Hungary and the EU. That's why Hungary do not like the EU's policy to Ukraine. But at the same time, the last 4 years, even if there is a hesitation, Hungary cooperate with the EU to support Ukraine. But sometimes Hungary want to show their presence to stop the EU's support to Ukraine, because EU is a system. All of the members need to agree. So without Hungary, anything could not happen. So that's why Hungary's role is indeed very important, and not only EU but also the NATO. Every time Hungary's opinion is relatively influential, because all of the members of this group need to agree. Without this, they cannot move. So that's why this remark is important. But at the same time, Hungary's careful manner diplomacy, anyways, if something has happened, indeed the last 4 years, Hungary agreed finally.
Thank you so much, Dr. Satoru Nagao, for joining us here today on NewsX World.
Thank you.
Julia.